Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banamsari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajadana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vishupad Paramahamsa Privraj Gachajasto Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Hilaboy Charanaravind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skan BBT, Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinama Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jainita Gaura Premanande, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Sharakayam Chaksurunviritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagradatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Krona Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Isha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed or practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasthayanam Mahat. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Sridham Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Om Surabhyaya Namaha
Om Surabhyaya Namaha.
Mukam karoti vatalam pangum langayate girim yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to morning Bhagavatam class. First canto. Beginning a new chapter this morning, which is chapter 9, entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev in the Presence of Lord Krishna. Text number 1. Sutta Uvacha Iti Bhittaha Praja Drohat Sarva Dharma Vivitsaya Tato Vinashanam Pragad Yatra Deva Vrato Patat. Sutta Uvacha Iti Bhita Prajadrohat Sarva Dharma Vivitsaya Tato Vinashanam Pragad Yatra Deva Vrato Patat. Sutta Uvacha Iti Bhita Prajadrohat Sarva Dharma Vivitsaya Tato Vinashanam Pragad Yatra Deva Vrato Patat. Sutta Uvacha Iti Bhita Prajadrohat Sarva Dharma Vivitsaya Tato Vinashanam Pragad Yatra Deva Vrato Patat. Suta uvacha iti bhita prajadrohat sarvadharma vivitsaya tato vinashanam pragad yatra deva vratopatat
इति भीता प्रजाद्रोहात्
Suta uvacha
सुत उवाच
Suta uvacha
इति भीता प्रजाद्रोहात्
iti bhita prajadrohat
सर्वधर्मा विविशया
sarvadharma vivitsaya
ततो विनाशनं प्रगात्
tato vinashanam pragad
यत् यदि यत्र देवा व्रतो पतात्
yatra deva vratopatat
सूत उवाच
Suta uvacha
इति भीत प्रजाद्रोहात्
iti bhita prajadrohat
सर्वधर्म विवित्सया
sarvadharma vivitsaya
ततो विनाशनं प्रागात्
tato vinashanam pragad
यत्र देवव्रत प्रता
yatra deva vratopatat Ji. Suta uvacha
इति भीता प्रजाद्रोहात्
iti bhita prajadrohat
सर्वधर्मा विविशया
sarvadharma vivitsaya
ततो विनाशनं प्रागात्
tato vinashanam pragad
यत्र देवा व्रतो पतात्
yatra deva vratopatat Suta uvacha Sri Suta Goswami said,
श्री सुत गोस्वामी said,
iti, thus,
thus,
bhittaha,
Bhita,
being afraid of,
being afraid of
prajadrohat,
Prajadrahat
because of killing the subjects,
because of killing the subjects,
sarva,
Sarva,
all,
all,
dharma,
Dharma,
acts of religion,
acts of religion,
vivitsaya,
Vivitsaya,
for understanding,
for understanding,
tataha,
Tataha,
thereafter,
thereafter,
vinashanam,
Vinasanam,
the place where the fight was held,
place where the fight was held.
pragat,
Pragat,
he went,
he went,
yatra,
Yatra,
where,
where,
devavrataha,
Devavrataha,
Bhishma Deva,
Bhismadeva,
apatat,
Apatat,
lay down for passing away.
Lay down for passing
passing
away.
away.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Jai Sri Prabhupada.
Sutta Goswami said, being afraid for having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthira went to the scene of the massacre. There, Bhishma Dev was lying on a bed of arrows, about to pass away. Kindly repeat after me. Sutta Goswami said,
Sutta Goswami said,
being afraid for having killed
being afraid for having killed
so many subjects
So many subjects
on the battlefield of Kurukshetra,
on the battlefield of Kurukshetra,
Maharaj Yudhishthira
Maharaj Yudhishthira
went to the scene of massacre.
went to the scene of the massacre.
There,
There,
Bhishma Dev was lying
Bhismadeva was lying
on a bed of arrows,
on a bed of arrows,
about to pass away.
about to pass away.
Report. In the 9th chapter, it as it was willed by Lord Sri Krishna. In this 9th chapter, yes, as it is willed by Lord Sri Krishna, Bhishma Dev will impart instructions to King Yudhishthira on the subject of occupational duties. Bhishma Dev will also offer his last prayer to the Lord on the verge of passing away from this mortal world and thus become liberated from the bondage of further material engagements. Bhishmadev was endowed with the power of leaving his material body at will, and his lying down on the bed of arrows was his own choice. This passing away of the great warrior attracted the attention of all the contemporary elites, and all of them assembled there to show their feelings of love, respect, and affection for the great soul. Sutta Goswami said that being afraid of having killed so many subjects on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Maharaj Yudhishthira went to the scene of the massacre. There Bhishmadev was lying on a bed of arrows, about to pass away. Very important chapter, actually, in the Bhagavatam, which is, for many reasons, in the text itself, it mentions about sarva dharma, uh, all that is uh, to be known, especially for a king, because Yudhishthir Maharaj is now being enthroned. It will be enthroned as the emperor, not just as an ordinary king, but actually as the emperor of the world. This was previously the vision and the understanding that the whole world is meant to be, actually. The whole world is meant to be under one qualified king. Uh, there's meant to be one, we could say, kingdom based on the principles of dharma. And Bhishmadev is a very exalted personality who, I'm not sure what was the actual, anyone know what the age of Bhishmadev?
No.
He lived for like 3 different generations. That's why he's called grandfather Bhishmadev.
I listen 400,
450. Um,
1,000 years.
hey,
1,000.
450 years is enough. Not 450,000 years. Eh, we're not in Satya Yuga or Treta Yuga. Uh, of course, we know that from Shastra, people in uh, Dwapara Yuga, they could live up to 1,000 years, whereas in Kali Yuga is maximum, generally for most people, 100 years. So, so yeah, that's interesting because it would be nice to have a reference for that. But Bhishmadev, he has a long history of uh, helping, actually, uh, especially helping the Pandavas. He was their well wisher uh, and protector in so many ways, although he ended up fighting against them. But he was the most respected because not only was he well versed in the principles of dharma, but he was also elderly. This is something important in the Vedic culture. Elders are given um, not only are they given respect, but it is one of the injunctions that is there for training a prince, isn't it? That is explained in the Kautilya Arthashastra. For training someone to become a king, he needs to especially associate with elderly people. Mm. Elderly people who have lived a life based on the principles of Dharma and who are therefore uh, both knowledgeable and also experienced, isn't it? Knowledge is one thing, but experience is something different. So when both knowledge and experience is present, then we should take guidance, instruction, and association from such persons. So naturally, when one lives for such a long time, 450, you heard?
256 years,
Huh?
256 years.
256, eh? Okay, he has a different reference.
No, here it is
Which reference is this?
from Google.
Google is not our authority. I mean, from Google you can find references from Shastra. We don't say Google is the authority.
440 or 50?
Anyways, he lived for a long time. The point being that anyone who lives a long time, so many people know him. So Grandfather Bhishmadev was known not only because he lived a long time, but because um, of his qualities and his knowledge and influence for so many reasons. So therefore, here it is mentioned that uh, so many great personalities. It's a little bit similar to the passing away of Parikshit Maharaj, isn't it? Parikshit Maharaj, of course, was in no way as old as Bhishma Dev. He was relatively young, actually, as a king, when he was cursed to die within 7 days. But because this is later on that will be, uh, he was after the passing away of Krishna and after Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas retired from, we could say, politics. They left, and before that they enthroned Parikshit Maharaj as the new emperor of the world. So it went from Yudhishthira Maharaj to Parikshit Maharaj. So naturally he was also known, and when he was about to leave Parikshit Maharaj, in a similar way, so many great personalities um, came to uh, honor him in his last days. So in a similar way, so many great persons assembled for this very, here it mentions, I mean, something very rare, that Bhishma Dev, from whom he got that benediction, that he would die at will. Who gave him that benediction? Someone remember?
His father.
His father.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he took
from
this
his
bow.
father.
Ah, yes. Um, why his father gave him that benediction? Mm,
He took a bow and he no marry.
because he arranged for his he arranged for his father to yeah, he took the vow, but he arranged for his father to marry
Yes.
um,
Satyavati.
Satyavati. Yeah, correct. Yeah, yeah,
And he will not marry lifetime brahmachari.
correct. And he took this very rare for Kshatriya, uh, very extraordinary vow. He had very unusual, um, in many ways. Grandfather Bhishma Dev is like an exception. Um, Generally, those who are heads of state or those who are in Kshatriyas, they are generally grihastas, but Bhishma Dev, as we know, was a lifelong brahmachari, having taken a vow not to get married, uh, so that um, the kingdom would be inherited by, or that, yeah, uh, uh, so that he would not become the next king. Yeah. Mm. So mm, basically, yeah, Yudhishthira Maharaj is in a natural way, we could say, uh, wanting to pay his respects as well to grandfather Bhishma Dev, and this whole well, uh, it would be interesting to find out actually how many days. I don't know exactly, but for many days, just like you know, Sutta Goswami, or rather Shukadev Goswami. Shukadev Goswami uh, continuously spoke and gave instruction. I mean, he spoke the Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj for 7 days, but Bhishma Dev spoke longer. Uh, uh, this Anusasana Parva in the Anusasana Parva. What is the meaning of Anusasana? Sanskrit.
A no na
Yeah,
in English.
yeah.
In
Well, you can start with Sanskrit and then English. Yeah.
A N U S H double A S H A N A
Yes.
Anusasana.
So I'm asking, what is the meaning?
Meaning
Ah,
Anusasana.
Anusasana.
Anusasana means basically अनुशासन মানে अच्छा से মানে गुडली manage engage
Engage.
अनुशासन
Okay, we have to find the right word in English. Actually, they're probably, just like we have dharma and adharma. So there must be a combination of susasana and asusana, anusasana. Means something that is good.
अनुशासन अनुशासन means
That's the problem generally. Those who don't know Sanskrit cannot understand, and those who know don't know English find it difficult. So what? Huh?
अनुशासन means obedient, well managed, like
Obedient, well managed.
discipline.
Discipline means good. Good. Um, so means things connected with dharma, possibly, because it is in that particular. I mean, section of the Mahabharata that Yudhishthira Maharaj is especially
It is translated in English, Book of Instructions. Book of Instructions.
book of instruction.
Yeah.
Anusasana. Yeah. Well, this is in Sanskrit. Generally, one word has different meanings, which are generally, but not always, complementary to one another. So, I mean, in one sense, I mean the whole Mahabharata is a book of instruction, but yes, like this text is mentioning sarva dharma, means, mm, uh, how does Prabhupada translate sarva dharma here? All, yeah. all acts of religion. And of course, mm, uh, in the purport, Prabhupada mm, elaborates on this by saying that Bhishmadev will be imparting instructions, yeah, book of instruction, on the subject of occupational duties.
Book of instructions.
So actually, occupational duties is directly connected with dharma, isn't it? Um, because especially in terms of varna means actually different, according to one's nature, different duties or different responsibilities. So that whole section, now this chapter will just briefly summarize, but this whole section is very is a actually there's a book, just like when one studies in this will be part of the curriculum. Should make a note of it actually, because part of the curriculum in the Varnashram College is what subjects and what books of reference to teach different subjects one will choose in the faculty of in the different faculties of the Varnashram College. There are 4 faculties, right? So one of the faculties is especially in connection with what is called Dandaniti, the science of politics. And this is the subject matters that Kshatriyas in training will be learning. So there is what is called Niti. Vidura Niti is also in Mahabharata. And then there is also, I'm not sure what is the actual name, but the instruction is also of Bhishmadev. So there is a Bhishmaniti, you know. I know there is Vidura Niti, the book, and also there's another compilation, maybe it's one portion of what uh, grandfather Bhishmadev will be instructing. The point being that actually uh, these are the references and these are the authorities from whom we need to hear. And that is why especially uh, the great personality of Yudhishthira Maharaj, uh, it was Krishna's arrangement that he should hear from the greatest authority on the principles of dharma, mm, grandfather Bhishmadev, mm, for I would for actually many weeks. The Pandavas, they would go every day. They would come back. They would go every day um, to hear from grandfather Bhishmadev, and they knew that he was waiting for this auspicious moment of this Uttarayana, which comes in. We were discussing the other day, 15th of February. Is January or February? February, I think.
February.
February, yes, which is a big celebration, big festival.
After Akshay Tritiya.
Huh?
Akshay Tritiya. After Akshay Tritiya.
Actually, yeah.
Because from that day it starts winter, summer season. The scorching heat will be increased.
Yeah. Yes. So this is so yes, and second verse, which doesn't have a purport, is just giving us a little bit more information. Also, we can read that second verse. Uh, Tadate Bratara Sarve
Dadati tatra sarve
Sudasvai Swarna Bhushitai
sudasvai swarnabhushitai
Anvagachan Rathair Vipra
anvagachan tathair vipra
Vyasa Dhomya Dayastatha.
vyasa dhumya dayasthatha.
Translation. At that time, all the brothers followed him on beautiful chariots drawn by first-class horses decorated with gold ornaments. God, not only people wore gold ornaments, but also horses. With them were Vyasa and rishis like Bhumya, the learned priest of the Pandavas, and others. So it's like, yeah, whenever a king, whenever an important personality goes somewhere, he's followed by, he has an entourage, you know, whenever the prime minister of the, or president of the country, they go somewhere. So this was like, yeah, um, I mean, we cannot imagine a very, very, very great moment um, with the whole, the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and the last person um, who was about to leave his body, grandfather Bhishmadev. Um, it shows actually how, I'm sure Prabhupada will comment on that possibly uh, in this chapter, when uh, when one follows strictly as grandfather Bhishmadev did the Vedic, various Vedic injunctions and lifestyle, where one is uh, intent every day on living one's life according to the principles of dharma, and especially in his case, he was a lifelong brahmachari. So till the very last moment, even though in that very difficult, challenging, um, you know, people, we call, we use the expression, the expression physically challenged, isn't it? People who have some kind of handicap or some body uh, difficulty. We used to, the term handicap used to uh, be the word, but now they have this expression physically challenged. You know, somebody who cannot see or like that. So this is an example of you know, physically challenged person. But when one follows as strictly as grandfather Bhishmadev did, we can see, this will come out actually as the whole Leela is explained. Grandfather Bhishmadev maintained his pure, completely high level consciousness to the point of actually being able to instruct, isn't it, on principles of dharma, which are not easy subject matter to discuss. And in many ways, I think when we have the example of our own Srila Prabhupada in his last months, including in his last days, I think devotees have seen Srila Prabhupada. He is on his bed in Vrindavan, unable to move, and very, very thin, He's been fasting actually for so many months, and he's about to leave his body, but he is giving purports of the Srimad Bhagavatam, isn't it? I mean, his totally clear consciousness. And when people actually don't live this, what we call sattvic life, or in our case, it's even more than sattvic, Vedic culture at least encourages and arranges, is arranged in such a way that people at least come to the level of mode of goodness, that's so-called sattvic life. But one who actually practices bhakti or devotional service, he rises even above uh, mode of goodness. So, so these are uh, signs of very uh, elevated personalities. Mm, Same thing also with Parikshit Maharaj, who during that 7 day period of hearing, primarily he was hearing, he was also asking some questions, but primarily he was hearing from Shukadeva Goswami. But during all that time, day and night, he was not eating, was not drinking, nor eating, nor sleeping, which is just not for ordinary human being, not possible. Uh, yes. So any uh, thoughts or reflections on this or questions? Yeah.
Why did Bhishmadev chosen to leave his body on bed of arrows?
Why he chose to leave his body
On the bed of arrows.
on the bed of arrows?
What is the reason behind that?
Well, this will be uh, elaborated upon in this chapter. It was mm, uh, it was arranged in that way. I mean, he chose not to leave his body. He didn't have a choice in terms of uh, we call bed of arrows because that was, you know, Grandfather Bhishma Dev was such a powerful, and there were many similar powerful, but not as powerful as Grandfather Bhishma Dev, who would be pierced by different arrows. See, we cannot conceive, but it took that many arrows to actually stop Grandfather Bhishma Dev. You know, usually one person who gets one arrow on the body, he's like finished. But in the Battle of Kurukshetra, I mean, people were receiving many arrows and they would be treated in the evening and they would be up and ready for battle the next morning because of different treatment, Ayurvedic treatment that was available at that time. So it was Krishna's arrangement that, I mean, to bring such a powerful personality down, Arjuna had to shoot so many different types of arrows that pierced his body, and then uh, it's like when the body cannot stand, it falls. So it fell on, you know, the arrows were just going through his body. So in one sense, he didn't really have a choice because that was part of the Battle of Kurukshetra, but it was arranged, as we know, so that even in that very painful, difficult uh, condition, he maintained his consciousness, and this is the whole purport that is being explained here in this chapter, he Krishna actually chose uh, grandfather grandfather Bhishmadev to actually console Yudhishthira Maharaj. Um, so it's not so much that he chose to leave his body that way. I mean, the result of the battle of Kurukshetra was that all those who were fighting against the Pandavas uh, had to be annihilated, and uh, so he received, like in war, uh, all of these different arrows, which ended up being so many. In other words, he had so many. It took so many arrows to bring him down that it was uh, when he finally fell, he fell on the arrows that were piercing his body, right? Um, which that in itself must have been rather uncomfortable. But he was, totally in full conscious and meditation, and um, he was chosen by Krishna to speak and instruct Yudhishthira Maharaj. Krishna arranges situations at times to actually glorify his devotees, isn't it? Because there were many other great, I mean, Srila Vyasadeva was there, just mentioned in the verse. I mean, Krishna himself was there. But um, Krishna chose that it was, yes.
I think that all is an arrangement of Krishna, and Krishna is a kind of dramatic person. So he wants us to remember his message, and he arranged some circumstances and you're
Unusual.
forced to remember. Maybe you don't remember what Bhishma Dev told, but that he's lying on the arrow bed, which is piercing his, not just,
Yeah, right.
nice metal
Yeah,
arrows,
yeah,
which
yeah.
sometimes. So that's force you remember. That's arouse some kind of emotions from you, and that emotions help you to listen more carefully and remember what you heard. Otherwise, without emotions, you don't remember too much whatever we heard. So Krishna he knows very well we need drama. We have to wake up, and that's he arranged different situations to help us to remember. Because yes, one thing is listen, 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 but how we able to listen when we are always sleeping? But when we our mind at least attached to type of arrows, what happened, very strange, very unique, how it happened, then we awaken.
Yeah. We contemplate on that.
Yeah, and then we hear much, much more
Yes.
deeply. So that's Krishna's trick.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the whole Mahabharata is full of intrigue and drama.
Yeah, but the main point is just the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah,
But
correct.
if you Krishna says, let's listen to me, and no, 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 better to listen some politics, some other things. So he makes a whole Mahabharata just to teach surrendering and some other knowledge.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
That's he says that for the less intelligent people, the Mahabharata created,
yes.
who is not really sharp for for two tattva,
Yeah.
but at least we start.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different time in history. It's a different, excuse me, different culture, completely different from what horses decorated with gold. Who's going to ride around with a horse decorated with
We
gold?
heard that decoration of gold with decoration of cows with gold.
Yeah. You know, gold is heavy.
Yes.
So that means the horses must have been very strong. You know,
Yes.
because when you ride on a horse, I mean, I don't know in the,
Nakula was very expert in the.
but you know, like the Red Indians in America, when they ride on a horse, they don't have a saddle. You know, saddle? Saddle is what you put on a horse to sit comfortably.
Yeah.
But the what we call Amerindians, the original Indians, residents, citizens of North America, that we call Red Indians, and not from India. There might have been some connection, you know, the Kshatriyas, the Vikings, the different theories are there, but they so that they could ride more quickly because the more you load up your horse, he can't run so quickly, right? Uh, so they would ride without. So I don't know how they were doing during the time of 5,000 years ago. Those who were riding horses, what was the system? But here we get some clue. They were decorating even the horses, yeah, and also the cows, as you say. And that's why at the end of any battle, then what do they call it? The booty, people who were defeated, then those who were, yeah, defeating, they would collect all the different ornaments and whatnot because, yeah.
They're paid off. A lot of work.
Yeah, yeah. Different, you know.
You know, Kshatriyas were collecting their wealth by these. They were fighting,
Yeah.
and they were have
They will
right to
defeat other
collect whatever they wanted after they win.
Yes, yeah,
Not the
yeah,
loser, but the
right.
winner.
Loser
Yeah,
have to pay the gainer some amount.
that was also there. But there were some, you know, some rules were there, isn't it? Yeah, you can't. You can only fight someone with the same kind of weapon and same strength and like that. That's why.
With
Fair
weak
sport.
person,
Huh?
they should not
It was
fight.
a fair sport,
Yes.
but they didn't mind to lose their life because then they go to the sun planet
Correct.
next life.
Yeah.
And there is
Sargaloka.
a righteous battle going on.
Yes. Yeah. Mm. Okay. We can.
I think one point that all these parts are very much reminding me for how to protect ourselves. It's a protection of the Lord.
Protection
Yeah,
of the Lord.
because the Lord is living, and immediately some calamity comes.
Mm.
And the great person is living, and immediately calamities comes. The Prabhupada left, and this was so much calamity.
Yeah.
Why? Because we're not protected by that person's knowledge and wisdom. So at least we need to collect their wisdom after they leave. We have to have that and go back. If we have some crisis, we have to go and read and listen and discuss about their message, and then we can solve calamities or crises, not by our own intellect. So that's his message. If you have some calamities in your world, go back to the previous acharyas and listen first, and then decide what to do.
Yes.
That's the system is given here.
Yeah. So that's why the instructions of personalities like Grandfather Bhishmadev and Vidura also, they are they are classic and standard texts of knowledge that are meant to be studied. And actually, when when we start to study these subject matters, it's very, very profound, very deep, not so easy. Because it's actually meant for those who will take up such kind of very important role and position in society, which means that in Varnashram College, which is primarily to um, to train the leaders in society, because Varnashram College is based on what is called uh, Chatur Vidya. What is meaning of Chatur Vidya?
For knowledge.
Four, yes, they're called four Vedic sciences. Uh, so Vedic culture is actually very nice because it has, just like Ayurveda. Ayurveda doesn't change. It's the same concept, not like modern medicine. You know, somebody introduces some new kind of understanding and whatnot. Ayurveda is based on, you know, the basic same unchanging principles. So the same thing also in terms of society, in terms of education, in terms of economics, isn't it? So Chatur Chatur Vidya is what is meant to be introduced in Varnashram College, and it is primarily meant for leaders. And who are the natural leaders in society? There are three natural leaders. The three natural leaders that uh, without their presence in society, society cannot function properly. And unless we have these three natural leaders, then everyone will not know what to do, and the whole situation will become totally chaotic. So, from our perspective, from Vedic understanding, from Vedic perspective, the three natural leaders are the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas. Vaishyas are also natural leaders because they know how to produce, isn't it?
And also protect.
Yes,
Maharaj was protecting
yes.
all these areas.
So, uh, so when we don't have in society, which is the situation now, such qualified and trained leaders, then uh, there is chaotic situation. So therefore, that was Srila Prabhupada's, you know, desire. That's the desire of all the acharyas actually, that we must train such qualified leaders based on the principles of dharma that are presented actually in Shastra, isn't it? And so there is specific knowledge that one should learn to become a Brahmana. There's some other specific knowledge that one should learn to become a Kshatriya. And there's another line of knowledge for someone to become a Vaishya. So, and of course, there's so many other types of knowledge which is meant for people who will not be leaders as such in society, but who are necessary for uh, society to function properly. And those include all types of, you know, all types of occupations, all kinds of professions, all kinds of trades, skills that are needed. Just like before, they would be called people who would be making tools. What do we call them? The blacksmith, blacksmith, goldsmith, people who would make jewelries. Uh, so like uh, this knowledge and these are sciences which are actually part of Vedic culture, Vedic education, and they fall under the category of what is called 64 arts and sciences, which is something else that is meant to also be okay.
Who is Chaturvidya here teach?
Huh?
Who is Chaturvidya, who is type here will teach?
Already there are different devotees who are having some knowledge of that and will be getting more.
No, you said Ayurveda.
Yes.
Yes, so who is type Chaturvidya?
He's asking for names.
Oh,
Four names. Yes.
where does Ayurveda, which one does it come in?
No, he's asking the four names
For
of the
Chaturvidya.
four Chaturvidya.
Oh, what are the Chatur Vidya?
Yes.
Oh, well, one is called Andikshiki, the science of philosophy. That is the first one, which is the beginning, because unless we have basic philosophy, we are not qualified. Just like when the Pandavas, not the Pandavas, well, also the Pandavas, but when Krishna and Balaram went to Sandipani Muni Gurukula, they first learned the Vedas, means the philosophy, before learning Dhanur Veda, which is for the Kshatriyas. They learn the Vedas, general Vedas. So the first of the four sciences is called Andvikshiki, science of philosophy. The second one is called Trayi. Trayi means the science of education for Brahmanas, which is based on Chaturdasa Vidya, 14 standard books of knowledge. Yeah. Number three is called Dandaniti. That is for the Kshatriyas. Dandaniti, the science of politics. And the fourth one is called Varta. Varta means to train Vaishyas. That is the science of uh, agriculture and cow protection. Uh, those are the four standard Vedic sciences that is meant to make up the curriculum in Varnashram College. Yeah. So that is what, Prabhupada, when he gave instruction to establish Varnashram College, he wanted that the subject matters corresponding to these different um, individuals, especially Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, be gradually introduced so that we have qualified and trained individuals. Yeah. So we can close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Sri Prabhupada ki Gaura Kimalamde.
Sauranesh Bhaktiraja Maharaj ki Jai.